I think what makes CMiC unique is that generally we surprise, I think, contractors with the concept that they can consolidate everything onto one place. The majority of them, I would say, are using a variety of different systems for project management, accounting, HR, et cetera. And so the idea of consolidating everything is new for a lot of people.
I think in addition to echo what Aaron's saying, a lot of companies have project management and accounting separated, but it's that pillar in the middle, which is project controls, which really creates a lot of heartburn for contractors because they're pushing information from one solution to another. And I don't think they really know that there is an application that can support all facets of the business on a single source of truth, which we hear a lot in the market. But the reality is there really isn't a solution like CMiC out there. So yeah, I would agree. Consolidation is huge.
Yeah. There's a lot of companies out there that do one specific thing. So for example, you'll have a very strong project management system. You'll have a very strong accounting system. But within CMiC, we have a very strong cost controls part of it, along with documents and the accounting side of things. So it's something that is so unique within CMiC is that cost controls where most people are living in Excel spreadsheets today.
And I even find some industry or some software companies will try and tap into multiple industries. And I do find we just have chosen construction. And I think that is really allows us to shine in that industry.
So the benefits of CMiC being built on a single database platform really kind of land itself in terms of the interconnectedness that it provides organizations. So being in different departments and having information seamlessly flow across the enterprise without having to manually push things into different solutions or rely on third-party tools or integrations to facilitate that transformation of information. I think that's probably the biggest thing that's a surprise for companies when they take a look at CMiC is seeing how easy the information actually does flow between modules, between people, between departments.
I would absolutely agree with that. In addition to like just being able to report, so because everything is already within a single database platform, you get this nice layer of analytics over top where you can pull reports basically from anything within the system, as long as you're tracking it anyways.
Yeah, and I think a lot of companies are trying to protect the margin, really, at the end of the day. And if you can figure out through reporting where that loss is, you can correct it on any future projects, which I think is a game changer with that profit margin generally being so slim.
Yeah, and you're talking about cost controls, we're talking about the flow of information, but they're all working off the exact same data set. So when we talk about that single source of truth, it's hard to get that when you're running multiple applications, but when you have one, I mean, that is really the truth of the business and of what you guys are managing or what people are managing on a project. So I think that really just is the philosophy ever since CMiC was built from the ground up. So the applications within the financial suite of CMiC that stand out, which is kind of funny. So the CMiC is called an enterprise resource planning tool, which is ERP. But if you look at the market, a lot of applications actually don't have resource planning and don't have opportunity management. So they're missing almost the whole front end of the project management process when you're going out looking for work, when you're taking a look at your resources internally. So I think it's really unique that CMiC has brought in those components of the construction process into the ERP platform and then makes that simple transition through to an actual project when it's being started up and executed. And every time we go into an opportunity or go into a deal and they say, oh my God, you have resource planning or you have opportunity management, we're using these two other tools, but they're not connected. It's a sigh of relief that they can now encompass those two areas, which are typically neglected, into our ERP platform. So I think that's a super cool thing that we've worked on with our customers to build, and now we can deliver it to future clients and those that haven't even rolled it out yet. So I think that's a pretty unique spot.
Absolutely. Just to kind of go on that, like traditionally what a lot of people think of resource planning is planning out the resource in terms of the financial need for projects that you have on the go, but nobody really thinks of, scheduling along with it, resource planning in terms of scheduling along with it, the opportunity management, like you mentioned as well. So it's not just resource planning in terms of financial resources that you need, but it's also those other actual resources that you need for a project as well.
Yeah, and I'd say we're kind of in a new paradigm where you have labor shortages due to like a lack of skilled trades, or you have supply chain issues. And so you need that efficiency it's no longer just like a nice to have. It's starting to become necessary in order to be successful, is to utilize your people and resources very efficiently.
100%. I think even if you look at a lot of the self-performing contractors, like our resource planning, how it's integrated with our forecasting. So when you're looking at your labor and you're pushing guys out on a project, 2 or 3 months or a few weeks, for example, and being able to look at the cost of that labor and then being able to update that resource plan, that's where those point solutions that, of course, are fantastic standalone from a standalone perspective. But then when you start integrating like resource planning, for example, in CMiC throughout different areas in the actual application, it just becomes another layer of cost control from a project management standpoint.
I've always thought of it like a butterfly effect, like doing one thing and then, it's one less task for somebody on the next part of the workflow to do, and then so on and so forth.
Just increasing the transparency throughout the project, throughout the organization as well, too, like from a hiring perspective, if like you were talking about before, we have all these bids out and we have all these projects that are coming down the pipe and we're winning more. How do we know that we're adequately staffed to manage the projects? And just that visibility from the front end all the way through the project execution is huge.
Yeah. So just to kind of reiterate everything that's going on here, not only is it just like the financial side, which is the core of CMiC, but it ties into everything else as well.
I'd say one big benefit of CMIC's platform from a financial perspective would definitely be the financial reporting, generating financial statements. I think we're expecting CMIC's future to tap into the database of like financial and transactional information a lot better. And so I'm really excited about the direction, like not only the industry's going, but also, where our platform is going, because the data being stored in one place just gets more valuable the more, analysis that you can do from it, especially with AI.
100%. I mean, if you think about financials too, a lot of people pin CMiC down into just being a financial application, which is, your typical general ledger, your accounts payable, your accounts receivable. But the way I like to kind of explain it to people that are looking at CMiC who have never understood or have seen an integrated ERP platform is, those independent project management applications that, start with commitments and can generate change orders. But the problem is you have those records and those commitments, but then you have no way to bill for them. They're not tied to a general ledger account. So when I consider financials, I don't consider it just your core traditional accounting financials, but also project financials. And us integrating those two pieces together is what separates us from all of the competition in the market today. And then pairing that with an unbelievable field application with drawing management and easy collaboration, there's really just no one doing what we're doing.
Just to kind of tie into that too, and what is super, super unique with CMiC is that when you have a separate financial system from, let's say, project management team, a lot of people are very afraid to let their project managers into their accounting system. So with CMiC, you could still technically have your project team go not into financials, but at least be able to access some of the cost information that they'll need for their projects, which is absolutely
and we talk about this all the time, right? Like AP invoices are coming in and seeing like check information or payment information as opposed to a project manager having to contact accounting to get that information. It's now ready at their fingertips with a couple clicks on the keyboard. And that's just a huge component that a lot of people overlook. But until they see it, they don't realize how valuable it is to have that information. It's one less phone call. It's one less keystroke. So I think that those are just one of the many benefits and examples that we could provide throughout, the whole financial suite and how it integrates with project management. And I think that piece in the middle, project controls, is so neglected, but it's one of the most important things. I mean, if you can't pay your people, pay your vendors, and receive payment, then how are you growing a business? How are you running a business? And I think that's, not to neglect the field and how important communications and documents are, because they are, but at the end of the day, like, you need to have a core financial suite to run a business, and that's really what we are.
Yeah, and I think operations, let's say they're over on this side, the finance team, accounting is on this side. Project controls is really that place where they overlap.
100%.
And so when you have a system that isn't disjointed, it eliminates a lot of that friction that typically happens, that hurry up and wait that happens, whether you're waiting for production units for billing from the field, or operations is asking for some sort of cost report and they have to wait. Getting rid of that, I think, really, really helps that overlap.
Invaluable.
Yeah.
So features that I think within the project management suite that stand out with CMiC is not only just being able to have project managers do their day-to-day basic tasks like an RFI or an issue or look at a drawing, but also be able to have real-time cost information going into the system. So when you're working in a project management system that's separate, a lot of the time what will happen is you have to import in from an Excel spreadsheet or you have to import in from accounting. With CMiC, and what's super unique, at least with us, is that that information just kind of flows over to the projects that are going on, essentially, for project managers.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about project management, to coin our new tool, Construct, but the whole push for us to drive a new project management tool, I mean, you have to give it to our competition, right? I mean, the Procores, the Autodesk, the PlanGrids, I mean, they pushed us to increase this importance and reliance on drawing management and bringing the field into the actual construction process and software in general. I mean, without those guys developing those tools and putting us on our heels, candidly speaking, it really pushed our team to develop an integrated project management suite and actually build out the components that we maybe weren't the strongest on. And we've always been a project control solution. We've always been an accounting solution. We've always had some of the best and mature payroll solutions to provide organizations. But the one place we struggled with was documents and drawing management from an intuitive perspective. And, fast forward 4 or 5 years from where we were in the past, now we have a solution that can go toe to toe with some of the most independent and best project management solutions. And I think that's probably one of the biggest game changers is the fact that we can now have integrated drawing management where you accordion information, creating an RFI on a drawing, linking it to a change, having it hit a forecast, billing for that change. No one can do that entire accordion. They can take it to a certain component or to a certain length, but to finish it off and go make money off of it, they can't do it. So I think it's a very unique position that it's put us in, and then obviously a benefit that our clients are going to realize as they go and continue to manage jobs.
And it pays dividends. I think like even years after a project is closed out, should you be looking for a document or something comes up, it's really easy to search through the database and find what you need.
Yeah. What happens if you're a claim on a project? Like now you have to hire, legal counsel to start digging through information to figure out who's got the best, trail of information. And in CMiC, all those documents are linked to cost transactions. And all of a sudden now you're saving yourselves from a legal perspective, which is a funny kind of, example to provide, but it's a reality. It definitely has happened. We've definitely heard it from people that have been in that position. So anything we can do to help lower costs, both from a project management perspective, and also from a legal perspective too, if it does come to that.
So on the collaboration piece specifically, I have a great story from yesterday. I was sitting with some of our clients and we were doing a brainstorm session with CMiC Construct PM, where I got them into the system. They were trying out some new parts of the system, and it was really cool because they would mark up something on the drawing, at least one person would, and then it would go to the next person. They'd look at that same drawing, it's marked up perfect. That person then pushes it into a change order or an RFI, let's say. Actually, I missed a step. RFI first. So they push it into an RFI. The other person responds to that RFI, then they push it into a change order. Then that change order gets pushed into an OCO, SCO, and then those get pushed all around the system back into the billing side of things. So it's kind of cool to see the collaboration, even just live, when I'm sitting with our clients, being able to see them go step by step by step. And for some reason, they're always astonished. They're like, oh my God, I just responded to that. Or, oh my God, I just published that. And it's like, yeah, it works.
And in the real world, it would never happen that fast. So it's good to know even at that speed, there's no bottlenecks.
Yes, absolutely. It's instantaneous. It's real time.
It's a testament to the product.
Yeah.
I won't name drop any specific clients, but I would say there's a ton of success stories, and they're all pretty similar, I think, for the most part, because I think a lot of people that end up going with CMiC is because they're running an unintegrated, accounting and project management tool. So they're usually coming from an independent field application that's doing maybe time capture or drawings, and then they're running something for core project management, and they're running something for financials and opportunity management or CRM. So a lot of these different applications that are so siloed out, I would say it's a pretty consistent sweep across pretty much every CMiC client that they're coming from 2 or 3 or 4 solutions down into at least 1 or 2. I mean, obviously, we have a very strong API strategy. We're not sitting here saying that we're going to be the only solution that you're going to need to run a business, but our really goal is to consolidate the number of solutions that you're running on a day-to-day business. But we also are cognizant that there are other applications that could build out our offering and make your specific instance of CMiC super unique. And I think the fact that we have such a strong API strategy now, which historically wasn't the case, but now, our philosophy has drastically changed over the last decade, and it's really put us in a good spot to be an open system and work with those tools that support the foundation. But I think the end goal for most CMiC clients is to have, the core, which is your accounting, your payroll, and your project management, all on one platform. And then anything that you need to button around it is totally supported by us, and we encourage that.
I mean, I would say, like, as an individual, you are often stuck in your own little world, right? And you think about departments as a part of larger companies, you're often just thinking about the success of the department. So when thinking about an ERP, it's a great opportunity to think holistically about the company. And I visited tons of companies who, not overnight, but through a long process of individual pains that arise throughout the years, have accumulated like a numerous amount of different tools. And once you get them into a room and start figuring this all out, I can't believe how surprised people get when you put 15 different logos of different tools up and they go, that many? Really? So most people are kind of stuck in their own worlds in their own departments, and I guess speaking with us creates a great opportunity to kind of assess and look to the future. And, is this the type of environment we want to continue in, or do we want to look for something more?
And you're right. And I think it's honestly, you get so stuck in your ways, right? Like, what you know. And if you're not like actively looking at the market to see like what else is out there from a software perspective and what other tools we can leverage and use. But you're right. I think that the biggest shock for people is they can get all this in one place. But, to that, I think change, everyone hates change, and change is tough. And part of our job on the front end is to obviously, get people excited about CMiC, but, we haven't really talked too much about the actual implementation of it, which we do here and we take a lot of pride in. But, outside of the tools and I think the industry itself, I think just having people be excited to change, adopt software, it's such a massive shift in the construction space. And we're now really seeing the adoption tenfold. We've been here a lot of us have been here for close to a decade. So I think it's pretty awesome to see companies wanting to use technology, wanting to integrate tools, and having the guts to change, right? Which they've been doing the same way for 10 to 15 years usually. So yeah, it's just super cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in my own role, so with CMiC, I've been here about 6 years now, and there's clients that I've dealt with, let's say 4 or 5 years ago. They keep coming back around, and you end up making friends with them. You're like, hey, Susan, we're going to talk about RFIs today, or hey, Joe, we're going through opportunity management today. Like, they start out with maybe a certain portion of the software, and then all of a sudden they're coming back and they're integrating more and more and more into CMiC. And it's really cool to see that, progression from start to finish, where they're going with the system. They're always adopting new software within CMiC. They're always adopting new processes using CMiC. So it's kind of cool, at least in my role, to see them keep coming back and using more and more of our tool.
Right. Yeah, and it's a testament to who we are as a company too, right? I mean, we're a development organization as well, right? Like, we've built everything from the ground up. We've never really acquired any solutions to build out our offering. And I think because our customer tenure of having construction companies running CMiC for 15, 20 plus years, that's all because we're constantly pushing new product out. We're solving business problems, right? I mean, someone comes to us and say, hey, we can't do this, particular component, or we're looking to streamline this side of the business. Can you guys build a solution? Like, let's put our heads together. The collaboration, the symbiotic relationship we have with our customers, and even between customers who can tend to be competitors sometimes, it's super unique. And I just feel like I don't know if that's just I haven't worked for any other construction technology company, so I can't speak on their behalf, but I think it's pretty unique to CMiC to see companies collaborate with us. We're in the office all the time. We have companies coming in here. Hey, like, here's how you can improve this cost report. We have this tool that we want to figure out how to, integrate into CMiC, or how can we build out a stronger, bidding application. So I think just getting that feedback from our clients, working with them consistently, is what keeps companies running CMiC without having to go back out and go through an evaluation, look for alternative tools, because we're always pushing the envelope in terms of development and keeping them ahead of the curve, which is massive.
And I think construction is very similar, like in terms of the trends over the last few decades, where you've seen a lot of increased complexity in the built environment. And so as a result, you need a sophisticated program that can easily handle that. And so through continual development, you can keep up with it, but also, be able to acquire more by iterating over time. As, the old sort of metaphor of people only use about 10% of Excel. People come in with specific challenges and pains, but obviously there's a lot more you could do. And I think that's the beauty of the long term with CMiC.
100%.
Honestly, our short-term future, there are so many new features coming out, it's hard to keep up with. It's incredible what our product team has been able to do and push out, even over the last 6 months, the last 3 months. I have clients coming to us saying like, hey, what's new? What's coming out, Cass? And I can give them this really cool list of all of the new features that we're going to be pushing out really, really soon. And it's not only the next 6 months or the next short term, it's years in advance. We're planning AI now. We're planning new updates to Construct. We're refreshing our system all the time. So with CMiC, it's impossible to keep up with all the changes that we're doing.
It makes me think we should create a spin-off called Catch Up with Cass.
Yeah.
Yeah, the future of CMiC, where does it lie? Where do I think we could benefit from? Where I think our clients could benefit from. CMiC is such a data-rich platform, so it'd be crazy if we didn't take advantage of predictive analytics in some sense, right? We always tout ourselves as having the most amount of data across the enterprise. So how can we start serving up content to our users based on all the data that the system can infer? The examples are endless, but I'm hoping that's the direction that we take. Yes, we have analytics built into the application and into the database, but how can we take that a step further? Everyone's talking about AI, that's the big buzzword, but I think predictive analytics right now is a good stepping stone in terms of actually using the data in a meaningful way. So if we can try to introduce that, which I know we are starting to, but if we can really start going, full bore on that, that'd be kind of a cool, solution to provide our clients.
Yeah, no word of a lie. Every single call I've been on in the last 2 weeks has always been, what are you doing with AI? What are you doing with AI? So it's important for us to get to that step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've attended a few industry conferences, and it seems I've noticed a bit of a pattern of an expectation of software. I think both as an individual, but also as an enterprise, you want a system that will eventually get you to a place where it'll tell you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
Exactly.
Rather than just being something you can tap into, it's rather assisting you in a way we've never expected software to really do that before. I'd also say, just to echo what you guys said, having this data, which can then become information, which can then become intelligence, gets us a step beyond what we've talked about for years, which is real time. We take a step past that. And I think that's really exciting.
If you can go to our user conference this year, go to it. It's called a users conference for a reason. We don't sell software. We don't sell any new modules within CMiC. I think the coolest thing about it is that a lot of our clients go there and they tell stories about how they're using the software. They show other clients of ours how they're using the software. There's a lot of collaboration going on. So it's actually really, really cool for me at least, to go and learn how everyone else is using CMiC, because then when I'm on my calls, I can go, oh, hey, you know what? So-and-so is using it this way. This is their process. What do you guys think of that? So user conference is huge in that manner.
The coolest thing about Connect, I think, when it comes to actual clients is how the sessions are not just CMiC people demoing the stuff that we've built over the year. We have CMiC clients that have been running CMiC for as little a year or up to 10 years plus, going up there and demoing their best practice on how they use the software to a group of contractors from all over the country. And not just a group, but the biggest and best and smartest contractors. Some of the top 100 E&R contractors are in attendance, and they're watching and delivering best practices and approaches on how to run their business. And I think that insight from a contractor to a contractor is so different than just, software people or product people demoing to something. Doing that in conjunction with actual people that are using the product on a day-to-day basis is super cool. And, how many times have you seen people meet each other and then they end up doing a joint venture together, even unrelated to software, but just growing the business together, working on projects we're on the West Coast, we have this project on the East Coast, can you come in and, maybe a subcontractor works with a general contractor, right? You've seen those relationships flourish and people do JVs together. So it's really, really cool. So yeah, CMiC is not just a software sales company. You know, we're really built on fostering long-lasting partnerships with companies that want to partner with CMiC. And that's not just from a pre-sales perspective when we're, demoing the product and selling them the product, but also when it comes to implementation, ensuring a successful project through to go live and then post go live support. I think a lot of salespeople, I'll speak candidly about myself and I guess the group of us, sometimes we can be coined as, you just sell the product or you make the deal happen and then you disappear. It's quite the opposite, actually. I always answer my phone. Post-sale, it doesn't really matter. It's about always reaching out to your clients on a consistent basis, seeing how they're doing, checking in. And that's not even technically part of our role, but it should be part of everybody's role. And that just in addition to your account management, your customer success teams, like all these product people, all of our support, like our whole support department. I mean, everyone's amazing. Being able there to, pick up the phone, answer their questions, make sure that they're successful, getting their return on their investment. That's a huge component. Like, if your software maybe isn't the best software in the world, like, outside of CMiC, if our company's starting up, I think customer service is so important. Like, everyone can get a deal done, but it's about keeping the clients long-term and building relationships and having trust in one another is the way to get that done and keep people happy and using the software and referring you to other people that could benefit from the same solution.
Yeah, construction industry is relationships are so important, even just within the construction industry. Cass put it well when she said that, many of our clients iterate over time and will incorporate more and more of the product over time. So I think that just naturally or organically creates an opportunity to have a relationship. And we're a software developer as well. So we're not just, reselling something somebody else has built. So we also take that feedback and then that incorporates itself into, new releases. You
have a voice with CMiC, which I think is super rare. Like, for example, like our executive management team, they're in calls with, Gord's flying out to see customers, our president, like, a president of a massive software company going out and meeting with some of our mid-market customers, our enterprise customers. It doesn't really matter who you are, you have a voice. And you've seen applications be built and feedback be putting into the system, regardless if you're, a $1 billion plus company or if you're doing, less than $50 million in revenue. I mean, everyone's on the same playing field and it's super unique and it keeps people excited and feeling like they do have a voice. So yeah, you're 100% correct.
I mean, who better than our customers to help us guide the product?
Oh yeah, I think that's something very cool about CMiC, if I can use the word cool, is that we don't have any people buying into our company. Like, it's family owned, it's customer centric, it's, we're only beholden to our clients. We're not beholden to a joint capital person or program or company.
No private equity. Yeah. No outside investment. Now, some people can think that's not the greatest thing to have, and I get that outside investment can sometimes help you, obviously with capital to build out products and offerings. But CMiC bootstrapped and from the beginning, and it's a testament to what they've built. I mean, long before us, right? We came in, not when the company started, but the executive leadership team here has done a fantastic job bringing it to where we are today, and ever since when we started, we were this company 150 people, maybe less than that, and now we're close to 500. So pretty cool to see the growth and just the success of the clients as well.
Just happen organically.
Yeah, 100%. It's just pure customer acquisition, like organic growth. It's pretty awesome to see.